chair? Send me out. Who's going to volunteer to go to Starbucks this morning? That is the role of the job.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the November 21st, 2017 Board of Supervisors meeting. Supervisor Gray, will you please read us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nice to see so many individuals in the audience this morning. First item is oral communication. The public may speak on any item not on the printed agenda. No action may be taken by the board. Please join us at the podium if you'd like to make a comment under public comment.
Good morning, board. How are you? I hope that you're having a great day and a happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I want to talk about something real quick. I just want to say that the city last night passed an ordinance on their marijuana, and I would urge that the board would take a look at that and be consistent. We would like it to be consistent all the way across so there's no confusion. They passed it only for an indoor, so I would urge the board to look at that, and that's my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Government and citizens have responsibilities to each other, and citizens have responsibilities to themselves and to their fellow citizens when their government fails them. Civic responsibility brings me forward today to break silence on an issue critical to the health and safety of many Tuolumne County citizens. County government has miscalculated citizens' response to its extreme negligence resulting from inappropriate illegal use of prohibited pesticides near wellheads, in violation of California law, and has exponentially increased county exposure with each subsequent refusal to discuss its negligence with impacted property owners and residents. For the last year, acting as a concerned and impacted citizen, I have quietly and respectfully attempted to guide this county's leadership to fulfilling its ethical and moral responsibility to its citizens regarding the protection of their health and safety related to the county's illegal use of prohibited pesticides near wellheads. After exhausting all reasonable means to achieve a positive and constructive resolution out of the public eye, unfortunately, light of day must now be shed on the inner workings of county government, with self-protection and self-preservation being favored and prioritized over citizens it's charged with serving and protecting. Specifically, the County Roads Department Vegetation Management Program is dangerously flawed and negligently managed under this board's oversight. In 2016, the County Roads Department committed multiple environmental violations by widely engaging in an activity that is strictly and expressly prohibited by the state of California, illegally spraying quantities of prohibited pesticides along the rights-of-way of county-maintained roads within 100 feet of wellheads, placing persons, animals, and property at risk. Persons, animals, and property are the words of the state of California, not mine. Those words are also contained in the Tuolumne County Agricultural Commissioner's findings after investigating the County Roads Department for several months in 2016. The County Agricultural Commissioner's pesticide investigation uncovered wide-ranging evidence of multiple code violations committed by the County Roads Department. Specifically, Code 6800 groundwater protection, 6609 wellhead protection, 6600E general standards of care, and 6614B23 protection of persons, animals, and property. The severity of these pesticide violations was such that a fine was assessed in January of this year and quietly paid by TCCRA to the County Agricultural Commissioner's office without any requirement of admission of the pesticide violations. As recently reiterated to County Council, citizens who are aware of the County Roads Department flagrant pesticide violations and the county's subsequent disregard of community health and safety adamantly hold and advance the position that county government has an ethical and moral responsibility to disclose and discuss these wellhead violations with impacted property owners and residents. Thank you all for listening this morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Garcia. I am the president of Big Dreams. We are a local nonprofit organization, as you guys know, and we are very excited to formally announce that after 5 years of working very hard we have met our fundraising goal to build Tuolumne County's first universally accessible playground. So our mission began in 2012 when a group of local parents came together with their concern about the lack of access to our local playgrounds. Many of them are here today, and they brought their cute little kids as well. We came to your board in July of 2013, and we were given your approval to use the piece of land that's owned by the county to build our park. And it took us over 4 years to raise the initial $220,000 that we raised. And that was a lot of work. And since September, we have raised over $150,000 just in the last couple months, which is enough to build our park. So we're here today to thank you for your continued support of our project. We're also here to thank our donors, all of our large and small donors. That first $220,000 was a lot of work, and there's quite a few, hundreds actually, of community members that made donations right at the beginning and started supporting us without knowing 100% sure what or how long this was going to take. But they knew this was an important project, and they knew this was something that our county really needed. So I want to send a special thank you out to those that have been there supporting us from the beginning. And also a huge thank you to those who have made very large donations in the last couple months, specifically Sonora Area Foundation and their staff. They've been instrumental in getting this project rolling quickly in the last couple months. And the donations that have come through have been labor donations, almost 100%. I'd say probably 80% of our labor that is needed for this project is going to be donated, which is going to save us a lot of money. And we really appreciate those that have come forward saying they want to donate their labor. Blue Mountain Minerals is donating over $20,000 in materials that's needed for this project. And all of our heavy equipment that we need to make this project happen is also being donated by local people. And all of the funds that we have raised have been private funds. We have taken no government money in this whole project. So every single dollar that we've raised has been from our community. So we are here today to say thank you for your support for this project. And we have quite a group here today. If you want to stand up, if you're here to support Big Dreams, and just say thank you to the board. And if anybody else is interested in coming up and speaking in support, or if you have anything you want to say, this is a good chance. So thank you so much.
I just want to say congratulations, and we will definitely look forward to coming to your groundbreaking.
Great.
Right. Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comment?
Good morning, everyone. Ron Ringen, a Tuolumne County resident. I realize that you folks are grappling with many tough issues right now, but I'm here this morning to make sure that one important thing does not fall off the table that might get forgotten about. So I'm going to lay out a couple of facts that you all know, but just bear with me. I want to kind of set the stage for where I'm going with this. Tuolumne County population is flat or declining in numbers. Tuolumne County's population is graying. Today, the county's biggest cash inflows are, number one, Social Security checks, and number two, visitors, tourist, recreation. Tuolumne County has become a destination point. We rely less and less on our forestry, agriculture, that sort of thing. It's the tourist industry is the big money maker for our county right now. Excuse me. Somehow, Tuolumne County in the past has had a history of poor or no planning, reactive rather than proactive. the South Fork, Stanislaus River Canyon, and watershed has not burned in over 100 years. I feel personally last summer we dodged a bullet. I just think we were very, very lucky with the amount of heat and everything else and vegetation that we didn't get a fire in that watershed. Our homes and businesses have been built into this watershed. It's called the WUI, Wildland Urban Interface. If a fire starts in Soulsbyville, Lower Crystal Falls, Cedar Ridge, or any other surrounding WUI areas at the right climatic time, there will be no stopping that fire. Which brings me to my point. If a fire were to occur, Tuolumne County, I believe, will never recover. The people that lose their homes and businesses to the fire will just go away. The older folks aren't going to rebuild, probably. They'll just take the money, go somewhere else where it's a little bit nicer other than just black all around. And the tourists will stop coming because there'll be nothing here for them to recreate. So with that, I got a couple things I'd like to hand out. I'll do these first. What I'm giving you is what you already know, tree mortality, and it's not going to stop. It's going to continue.
And Ron,
So-
can you get to?
I'm getting there right now.
All right.
So I've been talking about fire water draft points for a long time, and we haven't been able to accomplish that as yet. And I don't know why, but we need them. And TUD has offered to take care of the engineering. They provide free water. Now we need the county and CAL FIRE to step up and bring it to the home plate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm Randy Henvelt, citizen of Tuolumne County, and the biggest fan of the Columbia College Community Chorus. First of all, let me wish you all happy Thanksgiving. Shortly after Thanksgiving, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, it is time for Sounds of the Season again. This will be a wonderful presentation by the Columbia College Community Chorus under the direction of Dr. Darrell Hollinger. It'll be at the Opera Hall. It'll be Friday night, December 1st at 7 o'clock. It'll be Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. You will thank me for inviting you. I promise you it will be a great event and encourage the public to support the Columbia College Community Chorus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hanvelt. I will be there, because when you invite me to something, I come. So it's 9:14. Do you want to? I might take more than a minute.
So I'm going to look across the dais for consensus to extend public comment. Sound?
Thank you. Well, since it's Thanksgiving this week, I think we should be a little grateful for some things. So I want to thank Sarah Garcia for coming and reinforcing that she had that approval to build her park. And several people told me that it was actually July of 2013 when it was approved and that I was wrong. I didn't remember back that far. So I really appreciate that she came here today. And then I want to thank all of you. I think it's really nice that we have a board that gets along. And you and I may disagree, but usually when we do, you look me in the eye and we have a chat. But I think it's really, I remember being here when the fights were going on in the back room and we could hear all the shouting, and so we don't have that. And Ms. Brennan, I think you've done an excellent job as a chairperson. You move these meetings along, you let people have their say, and I appreciate that. And Mr. Hanvelt, I'm assuming you're going to be the next chair. So I would like to ask you to reappoint Mr. Rodeford to the Behavioral Health Advisory Committee, because I had some trepidation, but you have just been outstanding and really supportive. And then for our mental health community, I would like to thank Laura Krieg and Commander McBride, as they have been very supportive to some mental health inmates and have gotten them the help that they needed. And then to the Union Democrat, I think we should be very grateful that we have a newspaper that continues to publish 5 days a week. And to environmental health and public health, I remembered your fairly rapid response, and also TUD, when all the contaminated wells were out in the Stanton Courts area. And then to Sheriff Mealy and Under Sheriff Poley, you guys have been amazingly responsive to issues in our community. So I think you should be applauded for that. And to Tracy Riggs, you brought us a lot of money, and you deserve a lot of credit for that. And now, Mr. Pedro, you're getting a little projects. I think that's great. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comment?
Long time to see, guys. Hi, all. So I'm here to tell you a little story. Ready? And I have 5 minutes, right? What do I get, Sherry? I should get started, is what I should do.
Yes, and we're over time, so.
All right, I'll hurry. I can talk really fast when I need to. Put your listening ears on. In June 1989, a small group of families and children, ages 4 to 10, moved onto the old Rawhide School campus in Rawhide Valley, District 5. That old schoolhouse, originally built in 1875 with 2 other post-World War II classrooms, were spider-infested, filled with rubble, and needed lots of work. Everyone went right to it, including the children. That summer, the Rawhide Schoolhouse came back to life. In September, when the old schoolhouse bell rang, 3 teachers and 38 kids sang and danced to school. And so the future of Sierra Waldorf School began, the little school that could. A school with no classroom computers, no ditto sheets, no homework, no organized sports, but lots of field trips, lots of physical work, lots of structure, and lots of excitement about learning. Today, Sierra Waldorf School has 150 families and only 200 students. And yes, a sports program, but still no computers in the classroom. That's a plan. From the toddler and parent program through the 8th grade, these kids spend their days immersed in vital creative learning in a world that encourages them and nurtures each of their vital and vivid imaginations, a deep sense of truth and a strong feeling of responsibility to self and community. Yes, darling.
I just want to confirm,
yes.
Are you speaking to an agenda item?
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm
not.
talking about the school.
All right.
It's not about the agenda. It's about the school.
All right.
I made sure.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
I just want to plant a seed in your mind. But I'm not talking about the agenda item. Okay. Along with a rigorous academic program of math, world geography, history, language arts, these kids also study foreign language, gardening, woodworking, puppetry, choir, orchestra, and band. Annually, each class puts on a play, including the 8th graders who every year put on a Shakespeare production. Over 300 8th graders have taken on the challenge of producing more than 25 Shakespeare plays. That entire undertaking builds confidence and memories to last a lifetime. In the last 20 years, many professional families have moved to Tuolumne County just so their kids could go to Sierra Waldorf School. We're talking about an executive from Oracle, a big hoop-de-doo executive in the agribusiness community, people who really have contributed to the broader community as well in the tax base. Their kids come home smiling and filthy, dirty, ragged because they've been digging in the garden, baking bread, or getting grubby in the wood shop. When kids graduate from 8th grade, they leave Rawhide Valley with a deep love of learning and very creative thinking skills. Most Sierra Waldorf kids go on to our local high schools. They continue to excel in academics, sports, and the arts. Many of them become fluent in Spanish thanks to the school's strong foreign language program that begins in 1st grade. This elementary school launches the highest percentage of high school honor students who go straight to 4-year colleges, university, or to quality trade schools. Currently, nearly 70 alumni are in college, but even more are now working in amazing careers. We have launched several doctors, including our new ER doctor, Dr. Ari Nesper at Adventist Regional, artificial intelligence engineers, lawyers, including our very own Cody Nesper. college professors, firefighters, foresters, professional actors, filmmakers, musicians, bioengineers, civil engineers, computer engineers, farmers, nurses, dentists, and at least 5 former students are now Waldorf teachers, including one who is teaching English at a Waldorf high school in Central America. One is an international news correspondent who is fluent in Mandarin and is now learning Arabic. One is the director of the Robert F. Kennedy Young Leaders Program at the RFK Center for Justice and Human Rights in New York City. Another is the curator of the Ansel Adams Gallery in Yosemite. One is a pastry chef. One is a world-class kiteboarder. And all alumni are in the trades: carpenters, iron workers, glaziers, electricians, auto mechanics. 2 grads make beautiful, dry, stacked rock walls. They had a hard time learning, but they found a career. 2 are Iraq and Afghani veterans of the war. And those 2 have come back now, made their homes here in Tuolumne County, and have their own children now at Sierra Waldorf School. Your decisions do impact life in the Rawhide Valley. And I believe that each one of you strives to bring good intentions to your work and to hold in your hearts and minds the health and well-being of our community's families. I do believe that, because I respect you. As you carry out your work, I ask that you always remember these kids, the teachers and families of Sierra Waldorf School, and its role in our broader community, to provide a strong, lively option where children and parents and teachers have deep devotion to their school, where alumni will readily give testament to the power of Waldorf education in their lives and their sweet years at Sierra Waldorf. Let's bring all of them forward in your mind and then act with the highest, best regard for each of the children and all the people and now 24 employees of the little school that could. Thank you.
Thank you, VC. I need to pass this to Supervisor Hanfeld. I will be the last public comment. I would like the public to know that the day after Thanksgiving in beautiful downtown Sonora will be the Christmas parade. Please bring your children, come out and enjoy, and most importantly, please remember to shop local this holiday season.
And it's at 6 o'clock, right, Sherry?
It's at 6 o'clock, and Santa will make an appearance. All right, will the clerk please read the consent calendar?
Minutes of the meeting held on November 7th and November 14th, 2017. Consideration of approving Library Operations Supervisor class specification and Library 1-2 class specification assignment to the Management Association and adjustment to pay range. Recognizing unanticipated revenue in the amount of $96,677 from the Sheriff's Decedent Fund Trust account and increasing revenue and expenses in the Sheriff's budget. Approving the agreement with NorCal Communications, Inc. for structure cabling services. Approving the standard agreement with CAL FIRE for the scope of work for road repairs at the Columbia Air Attack Base to be reimbursed by CAL FIRE. Approving the California Office of Emergency Services Victim Witness Application. Accepting the Tuolumne County 2016 Agriculture Report. Accepting the resignation of Brenda Hicks from the Carter Cemetery District and directing the clerk to send a letter of appreciation and post a notice of vacancy.
Would any member like an item pulled?
Did you read item 7? Yes. I would like item 7 pulled, please.
All right. Is there any public comment on items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
I'll move on the consent calendar.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Hanfeld, a second from Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Will the clerk please read item 7?
Consideration of accepting the Tuolumne County 2016 Agricultural Report.
Madam Chair, I asked to have this pulled. Agriculture is one of the big industries in our county, and I think the public deserves to know how it's going.
And I would agree. Mr. Stockel.
Yes, Gary Stockel, Agricultural Commissioner, Tuolumne County. Thank you for pulling the item so that I can make a board presentation. I don't know what I was thinking. Next time it'll be on the regular agenda and you won't have to pull it. The county's annual crop and livestock report for 2016. This is a report that provides a statistical description of Tuolumne County's agricultural production. The figures contained in this report represent gross values of agricultural commodities and do not reflect production costs or net returns to growers. One of the things I'd like to point out in the 2016 report is on the front cover, we are highlighting certified producers at the Sonora's certified market. And then on the inside page of that front cover, we're profiling 3 of our certified producers who participate in that market. All 3 of our profiled farmers are young, enthusiastic, and passionate about farming. They are among the next generation of small farmers in Tuolumne County, raising families and continuing the tradition of good agricultural land leadership. Let's celebrate their continuation of Tuolumne County's long agricultural heritage and participation at the certified producers in our certified market in Sonora. So the highlighted farmers are Blue Oak Farm, Galen and Catherine Weston, Hawk and Fox Farm, operated by Jonathan Anderson, and Red Earth Farm, Larry Giles and Catherine Johnson. The Certified Farmers Market system is a statewide system that assures that producers grow what they sell. And that's what takes place at our Certified Farmers Market. We do inspections to assure the products that they sell at the market are actually grown. Most of our Certified Farmers Market participants are locals. We do have some from neighboring counties, and we highlighted our local growers in this profile. So we'll get to the dry part of the report and go over the statistics. The 2016 value of agricultural commodities produced in the county is estimated to be $35.4 million. This is a 5.1% decrease from 2015's production value of $37.3 million. Similar to last year, wildland fires played a major role in Tuolumne County production values. Local timber production significantly decreased by 18%, mainly due to an increase in fire salvage timber harvested in neighboring counties and being milled locally, along with a drop in the average board foot price. But if you exclude timber harvested within the county, agricultural production is $27.7 million, and this is an overall decrease of only 0.7% from 2015's $27.9 million. And this is a reflection of our much better water year across all of our categories. We do have some specific changes within the categories that report. Our miscellaneous fruit and vegetables went up 28.3%, certainly a result of our good water year. Field crops went up by 2.6%. We did see a drop in apiary and nursery products of 5.1%. A small production decrease in livestock and poultry, which is 1.7%, which was mainly driven by the non-cattle portion of that category. Cattle actually increased slightly. Livestock and poultry products went down 7.6%, and as I previously mentioned, the timber harvested dropped 18%, which resulted in an overall drop of 5.1%. Livestock and poultry products continues to lead the county at $22.6 million in production, followed by timber and timber harvested and field crops at $7.7 million and $4 million respectively. I do wish to express my appreciation to the agricultural producers and organizations and public agencies that have cooperated in providing data for this report, and would also like to express sincere thanks to my staff, especially Drew Raymond, who compiled the report, and Greta Schuttler, who conducted the interviews for our profiled certified producers.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks, Gary. The numbers that you have on timber confuse me a little bit, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. Oh, this is thousands, okay. So you're looking at, how many millions of board feet what's that calculate to? I should read your sub notes and then I could answer my own question here. Sorry. Let's see. So
Yeah, it's 68, it's a total production of 68,000 board feet. And I didn't do the math, so I'm not sure how many. 68,000 thousands.
yeah. So what is that?
So that would be, all right, if you do the math, 68 million board feet.
So we got 84 million board feet off the forest then?
No.
That was the previous year, 2015.
No.
No. There's no
No.
way. Yeah, that's what I was trying to highlight.
Private lands.
Does that,
Well, there's two numbers here.
That's
We
a-
got 68,000.
Well,
Well, you got 2016 and 15. That's confusing too. Let's see.
okay, so I think what's confusing there slightly is that the single category that's reported is a combination of public and private forest land production. They are not separate. And
Okay.
one value is 2016, and the other value is 2015 for that entire category.
So public and private.
Yes.
2016 and then public and private 2015.
Correct.
Okay, so just the way it's labeled.
Yes.
Do you have any idea what the breakdown between those two are?
Not off the top of my head, I do not.
I'd be
I've got
curious.
it in my office.
Do you? Email me that, Randy.
Yeah, that is a figure that we get from the Board of Equalization based on timber
Forests do not
sales.
produce a lot of timber.
No.
Supervisor Gray.
Yes, looking at tree crops, you have a nice picture of apples from Indigeny Reserve. Do we base that figure on the apples, or do we add the beverage that they make from it into that? How does that work?
It's the prior to processing. All these figures are at the point of harvest when they are first sold, not based on any product that might be manufactured from them.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other board comment? Just a cautionary note to some of my producer friends. Your office goes to an awful lot of effort to produce this report. This report is very, very important information for Tuolumne County, and it is very important that the producers participate and report to you. And so I would ask them to continue that support, and if they are not reporting, to please participate. Is there any public comment?
Eat local.
That's why we focused on our certified farmers market in Sonora, locally produced. And thank you for that comment, Sherry, because we do begin our statistical collection right now, and we'll be soon sending requests for information to our producers.
Question? In the back of your report, you don't give a lot of data on it. You just talk about where that you're doing a certain amount of pest eradication, and in one case, I noticed noxious weed biological control programs. Maybe you'd come back and give us a brief presentation on the extent of those problems, those issues, not today, extent of those issues and our success or whatever on those. They're of concern to me. Yellow star thistle, Medusa head, all those kinds of things that, Klamath weed, all those kinds of things that are a problem.
Yes, they are challenges, and I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Good report.
All right, I know I believe I asked for public comment. I'll ask for it again. Seeing no public comment, I'm going to bring this back to the board.
I move to approve the Ag report for 2016.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer, a second from Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Gary. All right, will the clerk please read item 9?
Introducing the new Stanislaus National Forest Supervisor, Jason Kiken.
So, Jason, I'd welcome you to the podium. I asked for this item to be put on the agenda because I had the opportunity to meet Jason probably a week ago. Appreciated that and felt it was very important for our entire community to meet him, recognizing that he has big shoes to fill following for Supervisor Higgins. Jason.
Well, good morning, supervisors, and good morning, community. I am Jason Kiken, and I am just thrilled to be here this morning, and also happy Thanksgiving. I am still trying to figure out how it's Thanksgiving this week. It doesn't hardly seem it can be that time of year, especially when it's supposed to be 75 degrees on Thursday. But
Welcome to California.
Yes, welcome to California is right. So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes introducing myself, where I'm from, what experience I bring, and what I hope to achieve on the Stanislaus National Forest. And so to start with, I'm originally from Wisconsin. My wife and I are high school sweethearts, and we have two little boys, a 7- and 4-year-old, and our oldest one is enrolled here at Sonora Elementary, and we're right across from the office, so I can hear them playing on the playground when I go outside at breaks. So that's kind of my family life. Where I'm from professionally is most recently I'm coming from the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest in central Washington. It's a forest that has many similarities to the Stanislaus, and that's a good thing. So the Okanagan-Wenatchee is on the east side. It's a dry forest. There's a lot of ponderosa pines similar to here, and lots of fire issues. This morning I've heard discussion about the wild and urban interface, potential for fire, as well as just general forest health, and that's been a priority for me at that location. And previously, I previously worked on the Chippewa National Forest in northern Minnesota that, similar to this area, had industry. And so one of the differences between here and the Okanagan-Wenatchee is that the Okanagan-Wenatchee did not have a lot of local industry, which made that forest health restoration work even more difficult and challenging and expensive. And so using industry to make sure that our forests are healthy and remain healthy and really improve the vibrancy of these forests is my top priority. So on the Chippewa, which is in northern Minnesota, I had 7 mills within 50 miles, and that again changed the dynamics. It was a great forest to work on. Prior to that, I worked in the Denver office as a regional office for the Forest Service. Most of my time was spent on bark beetle epidemic. Their mountain pine beetle had gone through about 4 million acres from Colorado to Wyoming, as well as spruce budworm had affected about 1 million acres, mostly in western Colorado. And so my experience there is important for here. And what I worked on was identifying the highest priority needs, finding the funds to fund those priorities, and work to restore that landscape and grow tomorrow's forest. Prior to that, I worked in Washington, D.C., in the Office of Budget and Program Analysis for the Department of Agriculture, and was the Forest Service analyst. So I spent a lot of time on high-level policy issues, mostly on fire policy. And so the reason to go through that background is to say that all of those aspects really fit well with the Stanislaus, from fire to recreation to forest health. All of them are interconnected, and it's my drive and goal to work with the Board of Supervisors here, as well as Alpine County, Mariposa County, and Calaveras County, because the Forest Service or federal government, in the case of Mariposa County, makes up a majority of your land base, and it's important to me to work with the Board of Supervisors to help manage that landscape for the citizens that we serve collectively, as well as those that are outside of the area. So that's just a brief background on who I am, where I come from, but I'm happy to answer any additional questions at this time.
So I'd ask the board if they have any questions or comments. Let's start with Supervisor Rotifer.
Sure, welcome.
Thank you.
It is why we live here, 75 in November. Not bad. I listened with rapt interest to your words. They're great. Let's work together and let's get some of this stuff done. Again, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I want to welcome you also. little bit about my background. I'm a fourth-generation Tuolumne County native, so I really appreciate what you have to do and the job that you do, so that I can still enjoy what I like about Tuolumne County. And I think we've over the last few years we've really developed a really good relationship with you as Forest Service, and I know we can continue that. So thanks for taking on the task, and welcome.
Thank you.
Supervisor Hanfield.
Well, I just for everybody's information, Jason and I have spent an hour together so far, and we'll spend some more time. But you left out one piece of information that you gave to YSS. You plan to stay around, right?
Yeah, I plan to stay
last
around.
one wasn't here
Yes,
very long.
thank you. I have, with our boys, it's really important to provide a stable atmosphere for them, as well as just provide a stable atmosphere for the county governments, as well as the employees of the forest. And so we have no plans to leave anywhere in the near future. We chose our house specifically to be near Sonora Elementary as well as Sonora High School. So hopefully our first grader can attend Sonora High someday.
Okay, well, let me just say welcome. We look forward to working with you productively to help make our forest very healthy, as you know. I mean, you know the history already, that we've had our share, a rich history of fire, and that is not what we like. We prefer to do the grain harvest, make the forest healthy, and so on. So thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
So I'm going to say that it sounds like you've possibly might be living in District 1, and I'm going to say that if you are, you've chosen it very wisely.
That's a personal opinion.
And would like to, again, thank you for joining us this morning, and I would echo all of the sentiments of my colleagues on this board. We want to find ways to work with the agency. We want you to be successful. Your success is critical to Tuolumne County's success. And so I'd ask at this time if there is any public comment. And if not, this was an information item, and we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Well, thank you very much. And just to use your words again, our success is your success and vice versa. Being able to have a resilient forest that's open to recreation. So what I heard this morning that's been mentioned several times in my month here is that both timber and that industry as well as recreation make up two of the largest industry sectors, and we play a large role in that. And so again, our success is yours and vice versa. So look forward to working with you, and look forward to being at these meetings with regularity. And you'll also be seeing our district ranger. And actually, let me make that announcement. We have selected a new district ranger for the 108 corridor, Sarah LaPlante. She was acting here over summer, and she will be permanently here in January. Looking forward to her coming. And so you'll be seeing her as well. It's an expectation of mine that they get to know the Board of Supervisors too. So call anytime, and look forward.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Will the clerk please read item 10?
Consideration of approving the appointment of a library director.
Ms. Riggs.
Good morning, Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office, and today we are very excited to ask your consideration of appointing Deborah Sampson as our new library director. On November 7th, your board did conduct a second interview, or your first interview, with Mrs. Sampson, and unanimously voted to extend a tentative offer of employment based on reference checks and passing a physical exam. All of that has taken place, and I do want to share a few things that her references did say about Mrs. Sampson. It was welcome news and not surprising news. So each one of them said that she was very ethical, honest, and extremely dedicated. She's very passionate about the public library system and the patrons whom they serve. And what each one of them also said, that no matter what was taking place within the library, she was always calm and friendly and handled everything very professionally. She has over 22 years of working in the public library system, And, sorry, Sherry, I thought you would.
No.
And she's worked her way from a page through reference, circulation, managing branches, and has been a director at one point. And this is a great culmination of all of her experience. We're very excited to welcome her to our team. What's very interesting, you may or may not know, and is that Deborah's husband had recently accepted a position within the county. She was already living here, looking around for where her passion, which was libraries, and this position came open. So timing was perfect for her, for us, and our community. And I'd like you to consider appointing her as a library director. And as you can see, she is here to say good morning to you all.
And so, Sarah, bear with me for just a moment while we get through the process. I'd like to ask if there are any board comments at this time. I'd like to ask if there is any public comment. Ms. Beasy, please come to the podium.
Podium.
Please. The camera would like to capture your words of wisdom.
First of all, I want to welcome you as a former Tuolumne County Library employee for a total of about 10 years here and there. And I just am really excited to think that we have a new fresh face for the library. And I have one quick question. Where were you working last?
Albuquerque, Public Library in Albuquerque.
Oh, that is very exciting. A good, strong urban library. You know the Farmington Library then? Yes. Yay. Okay, thank you.
Please.
Hi, Chris from Friends of the Tuolumne County Library. We are thrilled that we will have a library director after several years with that being vacant. And Deborah, welcome.
All right. I'm going to bring this back to the board.
Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve the hiring of our library director.
I'll second that, and I just want to make a comment, Deborah. We're going to welcome you, and I think you already know this from our discussions with you. Library is a really important part of our community, and you're stepping into some pretty big shoes, and I know you'll be up to it, and you've got a great support group here. So.
I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer, a second from Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And with that, I would like to welcome Mrs. Sampson and invite you to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you. I just want to express my gratitude to the board for approving me and let you all know that I'm very excited to be here and start working for the education and literacy of the community.
Thank you.
Welcome, and we're very happy you're on board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read item 11?
Consideration of approving an agreement with Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe LLP to serve as bond counsel, and Stradling, Yoka, Carlson, and Roth to serve as the bond disclosure counsel, with KNN Public Finance for pricing advisor services and underwriter services related to the law and justice and technology project financing.
Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, thank you. Daniel Richardson from the County Administrator's Office. We've been anticipating a need to borrow money for quite some time in relation to both the Law and Justice Center and for some technology projects. So we needed to establish a team of a bond counsel, disclosure counsel, pricing advisor, and bond underwriter. And so we went through a qualifications process. I know that Ms. Correa was got the bond counsel and disclosure counsel. You want to make any comments about that process? Otherwise, she checked references, and she is selected as the bond disclosure counsel, Stradling, Yoka, Carlson, and Routh, and Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe as our bond counsel. These are well noted and well experienced companies in this industry. And as the pricing advisor, we've selected KNN Public Finance. They are, once again, they've been in the field for many, many years, working with as CSAC and one of their sponsors. And as our underwriter, Raymond James. They're once again one of the, they work closely with many of these entities over the years. We went through an RFP process that included the Auditor Controller's Office and County Administrator's Office, and we've selected these individual firms to provide these services. I should note that this is a lengthy, time-consuming process. We need to be careful because this is 30-year and 10-year debt, depending on if it's for the Law and Justice Center or technology. So we want to make sure we get the best pricing for the citizens of Tuolumne County. And we think we've established a good team to make sure this happened. 2 of the contracts your board received last night. Just want to let you know they were reviewed by County Council. The copies you have in front of you don't have their stamp on them, but they have been reviewed by Council. So with that, any questions?
Are there any board questions? Is there any public comment? All right, I will bring this back.
I'm on staff recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer, a second from Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Will the clerk please read item 12?
Consideration of approving the contract with Spirion, Inc. for an enterprise resource planning software system.
Thank you. Daniel Richardson from the County Administrator's Office. With me is Bob Chapman, IT Manager. It's not too often that a county goes out and decides to replace its enterprise resource planning system, which is we'll call it the brains of all the finance and human resources and budget system for the county. So it's a significant acquisition. We knew that our current platform that we're on with Oracle, our PeopleSoft platform we've been on for almost 17 years now, and it's time consuming for our IT staff, and we knew that we needed to make a change, and so we sent out a request for proposals, and we had we'll call it a large and expansive evaluation team consisting of Auditor's Office, County Administrator's Office, Human Resources, we had the Human Services Agency, and of course Information Technology. And so we, after having demonstrations, we've selected, it's now called Superion. At the time it was SunGuard. They were then acquired by Superion's One Solution. And so it's made up of various modules, and just to talk to some of the modules that are included in it, there's finance, purchasing, budget module. It also has human resources and payroll. It does fixed assets. It produces a CAFR. It also produces a budget book. One of the interesting things that they also propose is a time tracking instrument, which is important for some of our departments who have to get grant reimbursements. They need to be able to track their time appropriately. So that's something they proposed. We also have an employee recruitment module, which Human Resources was very happy to get something that works well for them. This implementation is a lengthy one. It's 18 to 24 months, but we're excited to get started because our current system continues to have patching issues. The longer that we're on it, it continues to have more problems. So we need to make a move soon. There is ongoing support of about $250,000 on this that they've proposed for the next 5 years. After that time, when we took this to the Finance Committee, they wanted to make sure that we're not, after the first 5 years are up, that we're not price gouged. And we talked to Superion about that, and they assured us that there would be reasonable increases at that time. Also at the Finance Committee, the other significant, reasonable. The other concern that was expressed is this is a hosted solution. Many of our software solutions that are being selected by the departments are hosted. They're in the cloud. They're not premise. They're not here at Tuolumne County's Network Operations Center, and this is one of those. As the financial system for the county, that we want to make sure there are some cloud security assurances. And so we, on Exhibit 6 that was added to your Superior's contract, I just want to read to you the introductory sentence to what was added this last week in the contract. It says, the Superior cybersecurity program is a key component of the Superior business strategy and is embedded into the daily operating culture of our people, processes, and technology. And then it goes into some of the standards, national standards that they uphold to in their premises where the cloud, our cloud offering, is being hosted by them. So with that, this is a large expenditure and it'll require a lot of staff time. It is a $2.2 million expense for the county, and we are excited to get started on this.
Are there any board questions?
We actually have 3. First of all, though it's a cloud-based solution, we're going to continue our own data backup. Is that correct or not correct?
Bob Chapman, the data backup is part of the product offering.
Okay.
So they will continue, they will
Okay.
do that, and they will offer that service.
And then I would ask that our HR director and our auditor controller each come up and just for the public record, there's no trust issue here or anything like that, but just let us know that you approve of this solution. Or any reservations you might have with this solution.
Ann Fremd, actually we are thrilled beyond words. We can't wait to have the 21st century present in Tuolumne County in a software package. So self-service, great module, we're very excited about it.
Debbie Batista, County Clerk, Auditor, Controller, and took most of the words. This will be my third, and absolutely, positively, I will bet my house, my child, and my pension last conversion I will do. That one you can put in stone. So we are very excited. We've talked to some of our counterparts who have this system. And as Ann pointed out, this will be a system where we'll no longer be having to scan things and have a separate file for departments to look at. They'll be able to go into the system. They'll be able to just click on a claim. They'll see the claim. They'll see the copy of the check. We'll be able to put copies of checks and pictures with any of our fixed assets that we want. We'll be able to include all of the special districts that we do the financial statements for. They will have the ability to look up things on a daily basis versus waiting once a month to get reports to look at everything. So for things like Miwok Fire, Tuolumne City Sanitation, Jamestown Fire, Columbia Fire, all of the fire districts that we keep the records for will have access to the system, again, only to review. They can have access to the system 24/7. Some departments will have access 24/7, again, not to do anything but to look at it. We really will make life and the efficiency of Tuolumne County's fiscal people a lot better than it is right now. So we're excited too. We're not so excited about doing it, but we're really excited when it'll be all done.
Were you finished, Supervisor? Mr. Richardson?
I'd also want to ask, we have Neil Campbell, who is Senior Director of Sales for Superior, if he wants to say a few words about the company.
Madam Chairman, Board of Directors of the county, citizens of Tuolumne County, I just want to say that we're very thankful to be here. It was a very extensive process. The group represented the county well. It was about a 2-year process we went through to be here today, but we're extremely excited. Superior only does business with cities and counties. It's all we do. It's all we focus on. That's our single goal in life. We represent about 1,800 cities and counties in the U.S., and in our market, which is about 30,000 to 500,000, we represent 1/3 of the country. But more importantly to you, we have 200 customers in California, and 23 counties of the 58 counties use our software. So we know California, we know how California does business, We have many long-term relationships, and we're excited to add Tuolumne County as number 24 and to start that long-term relationship and support all the goals of the county, and to make sure that, as it was so eloquently stated before, that this is the last conversion that you have to do.
So thank you for being here. We appreciate those comments. I'd like to look to my right real briefly and ask if there are any questions.
Just well, I think you know the answer. Where are we going to start?
When are we going to start,
No,
or where
where?
are we going to start? Where are we
What
going to start?
department?
We'd start in the auditor's department with the finance system.
That's what I would think. All right. Thank you.
That's a good choice, by the way.
Supervisor Hanfeld?
I was just going to ask Bob almost the same question. So which department do you love the most? And where are you going to start with? He already answered that.
Mr. Pedro, do you have a comment?
Just a comment.
Love or fear.
From your budget officer, we're also excited to have a system that, can work and not have to be patched, and, all the things that we're having to do as well. But something that behind what Debbie was, saying at the podium is this is a lot of work by a lot of people. And I don't know how many folks here at the dais have gone through a conversion like this, but it's massive, and it's going to take, I figured, but it's massive, and it's going to take a lot of concentrated time to do it and do it right. And this is part of the whole primal scream and updating things. But your staff's going to be extraordinarily busy over the next 2 years getting this done and done right.
This time I'd ask if there's any public comment.
Thank you.
I was at the Finance Committee, so I saw the whole dog and pony show thing. And I've been listening to this for years, so I would just ask you to please approve this.
Seeing no other public comment, I'm going to bring this back to the board, and since Mr. Pedro took the words out of my mouth, I'm going to look to the supervisor who coined the phrase for us, the primal scream, and ask if he'd like to make a motion.
Actually, I'll defer to the chairman of the Finance Committee, but I'll be happy to second his motion.
Okay, then I'll move that we approve the contract with Superior for the resource planning software system.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Hanfeld, a second from Supervisor Rotifer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Happily, the motion carries 5-0.
Now get to work.
Thank you. All right. Will the clerk please read item 13?
Consideration of approving a contract with Maverick Network, Inc. to install a voice communication system.
Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, Daniel Richardson from the County Administrator's Office. Phones, we've used them for many, many years, and this particular phone system that we use has been in our possession for about 25 years now, and it is, we'll call it obsolete. It may look like it's a nice black phone, but if you look at the guts, the computer behind the scenes, it's very, very old. Uses old technology that cannot, they don't offer it, they cannot be replaced. The actual phones we have to purchase on the gray market when things, when they break. Our voicemail system we've observed has gone down multiple times. We had the lightning strike this last winter. We had a panic situation where we thought we had lost it completely. We resurrected it somehow. But we brought on a firm called Client First, who is a telecommunications firm, to help us to scope out what we needed to do to prepare ourselves to once again enter the 21st century in telecommunications in Tuolumne County. They scoped out that we should go to a voice over internet protocol, a VoIP phone system, and so we needed to prepare ourselves for a new phone system. We're not ready at the moment, but we're getting there. So we need to upgrade, not just buy a new phone system, but we need to get our network upgraded. And so I want Bob Chapman to tell us a little bit about what we're doing now in our network upgrade that is part of this system that we're acquiring today.
Yeah, I am very excited to bring this to you guys today because the network upgrade will make such a big difference for all of our departments out there. Not only does it support the phones, which would be great, but it supports the department activities, and we're going to make the network so much better for everybody out there. We are currently involved in a number of projects. You saw over the weekend we did the admin building. We improved the power in the closets to be able to supply power to the new telephones. We're no longer getting power from the telephone company. And then we have to make space for the new equipment that's coming in. We have a number of items you approved in the consent calendar today, wiring for a number of buildings, and where we're going to correct wiring inefficiencies from the past and consolidate them in closets where they belong and not out in the open. That'll improve that wiring sections. We also intend on upgrading the fiber that goes between some of the buildings to be able to handle the capacity of the phones and give us the quality that we need for those phones. And then the last part of it is we are going to take some of our underserved organizations and put in some new connectivity for them. They all are going to get replaced some of the copper with fiber connections. So people such as animal control or the airport or the ag department don't call us up the day after a rainstorm and tell us that their phones are not working. So we're very excited about that. We're very, very excited if this goes forward to improve the network for you guys.
Supervisor Gray.
Will this allow us to have Wi-Fi, say, in the CRA department buildings and the outlying areas where we don't have Wi-Fi connectivity, or is this a whole different?
They are two different projects, although when we do wire the A&F building, we have put in provisions for new wireless capabilities, and it is another project that we're working on. So we will extend it to the A&F building almost immediately after we do the cabling, and then we're looking at other buildings to expand it there also.
Thank you.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Yeah, I know this is like far-fetched, but I can't help myself. With VoIP, is there a backup if the internet actually gets trashed?
Yes, we have in all instances put up a backup that'll go up to the hardened cable line to the phone company.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board questions? Is there any public comment?
Can I?
Wanna
I
bring
just
this
talked
back,
about
Mr.
the
Richardson?
network. Let me get onto the telephone part. So far, we've just been on network. Want to pass out this chart, because after we improve the network, then we actually send out an RFP to select a phone system. And this is the chart that shows we had 28 vendors that we contacted. We received 14 vendor proposals, and we had 4 finalists. And from those 4 finalists, you can see that in this chart that we selected Maverick, who ends up being was the low price. The total 5-year costing was the low price leader. And so we've selected them. We had a large evaluation team, representation from most of the departments, filled up this room for a couple of days, and Maverick was the highest rated vendor. What Maverick is proposing is a Mitel phone system. Mitel is a world leader in phone systems, and you'll see on that chart, it shows that we had 2 Mitel vendors and 2 ShoreTel vendors. The day after these proposals, Mitel acquired ShoreTel. So just so you know, we actually have a world leader in phone systems. So we are recommending the county purchase a Mitel telecommunications system with Maverick as the implementer. Now we're done.
So I'll ask again if there are any other additional board questions. Seeing none, is there any public comment? I'm going to bring this back to the board.
I'll move on staff recommendations.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Gray, a second from Supervisor Rutherford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Sure, I neglected, we also have a representative from Mavericks here, if you want to have him come up and say a few words.
Please.
Todd Barnes. My apologies.
County Supervisors, thanks for having us today and for approving this project. And I would like to comment on your thing regarding the internet. So although it is a voice over IP phone system, what we propose for you is what we consider a private cloud. So all this work that you're doing internally to beef up the network and all of that, really you control how well this phone system works. So really want to thank the Tuolumne County team. They've been a pleasure to work with so far. It was somewhat of a long process and a lot of work, but that's what we do, and we enjoy that. We're going to provide you a highly reliable, very resilient communication system that's really kind of software-based, so it's not going to be end-of-life hardware anytime. You're going to be able to upgrade that software over the years and get a lot of life out of this thing. So we're really excited, looking forward to a long-term partnership with the county here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate all of the hard work that went into this. It has been a process, but everyone from the county staff has done their due diligence, and I have complete confidence that this is going to be a tremendous benefit.
We're excited, ready to get started as soon as you are. So, all right.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read item 14?
Consideration of approving correspondence regarding the proposed National Park entrance fee increase.
Ms. Peterson.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. I am here today to discuss the National Park. They are proposing to increase their entrance fees for the 17 most highly visited parks in the nation, one of which is Yosemite, as I'm sure you could probably assume. The increases in entrance fees are proposed to go to improving infrastructure in national parks, things like roads, bridges, campgrounds, water lines, bathrooms, and other visitor services. There will also be an increase in entrance fees not only for cars. So in Yosemite, the cost to enter for a car would go from $30 to $70, but there also would be increases in entrance fees for commercial tour operators and permit fees, things of that nature. This action is being led by the Secretary of the Interior, Ryan Zinke. He believes that the fee increases will help sustain the national parks to ensure that they remain the beautiful places that we all love to go and visit. Let's see. So there is no doubt that there is need for infrastructure maintenance. There always is on anything. But there is concern that the increase in fees would deter other folks from visiting. Specifically, the idea that so the Natural Resource Committee, I should say, they discussed this item at their November meeting, and they came up with, or they approved kind of an idea that is reflected in the comments here for your board's consideration. Specifically, they discussed the idea of increasing the fees by about 25%. So in Yosemite, it would go from $30 to $40, and that's just in the peak season from May 1st to October 1st, 5 months. And then in the off-season, decreasing the entrance fees, actually, so that it could maybe so it would incentivize maybe some of us local folks who like to visit our, playground up the road, but during off-season, so when it's times that aren't as congested. So that could take some strain off of the infrastructure there in the parks. So I'm here today requesting your board approve the correspondence that's attached. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. So this did go to the Natural Resource Committee, but I'd like to go to Supervisor Gray first.
It's the park's in our backyard and really close to my backyard. And I really enjoy the ability to, now that I'm an older person and have my yearly card, I can get in there fairly reasonable. But when my daughter comes to visit and thinking that's going to cost her $70 to take her and my grandson to the park that's less than 20 miles away is really disheartening. I certainly understand the issues that the park has with the congestion during the summer months, but it's not a people problem, it's a car problem. And I think that they have plans and some ideas on how to help that. We all understand the park needs more money to repair and replace the facilities in the park, but charging an individual $70 to get in the park just seems extremely unreasonable. So I want to thank the Natural Resource Committee for looking at this, and I certainly concur with the wording of the letter, and the idea of the split fee makes sense also. So when necessary, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the letter.
Supervisor Hanfeld?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We discussed this at some length, and, you know, I point out to you all that Yosemite National Park had an increase of about 25% last year, not this year, but last year, from something around 4 million to 5 million. They got an enormous amount of money out of that, and they should be taking that windfall and putting it. This year, it looks like it's tracking at a little over 4 million, and part of that is blamed on the fact that at one point there was only one entrance in and out of that park. I mean, all the western entrances were closed at different times during things, and that's one of the problems they perhaps have. But I think good stewardship of the money and the suggestions that the Natural Resources Committee came out with, I think, are prudent and can be made to work. But they're only talking about the 17. I point out to you, they're talking about the 17 most visited parks. So, anyway, I think this is a good recommendation.
Supervisor Rotifer.
I have a question, I guess, for the supervisors on the Natural Resources Committee. It seems to me that one thing that could work in favor of the issue that Supervisor Gray pointed out, that it's really not people, it's cars, is if there was a break on entrance fees for people using yachts, that would, you know, if they do have to increase the fees for cars, keep the yachts fee where it is, and then people could ride yachts, and there would be fewer cars in the park. And was that avenue explored at all?
Yachts has a relationship with the park that they're not charged an entrance fee for the yachts buses to go in. It's a private individual bus that gets charged.
Yeah, but my understanding is to ride the bus costs the same as the entrance fee.
No.
No?
Quite a bit less. I don't remember what the rates are, but I think it's $8 from Groveland.
Okay.
But thank you for asking the question. It provides some clarification for those that might
Okay.
be listening.
There was a comment at Visitors Bureau on that subject of yachts, and yachts is a little concerned whether they expect, if this takes place, that there will be an increased demand, whether they're going to be capable of handling the increased demand.
Good. Business opportunity, more jobs.
If that's a business.
Ms. Peterson, did you have something
Yeah,
to
I
add?
just wanted to say this is a proposal for increased fees for maintenance only. So the issue is that I think you correctly pointed out, Supervisor Rotifer and Supervisor Gray, that there seem to be maybe some other motivations for why this is happening. Those, on the surface level, those are not, they have not been communicated. So when it comes to the car congestion issue, that has not specifically been brought up in any of the literature from the Park Service itself or from Secretary Zink.
Stand by for the federal government to do subvention.
And that gets to the one comment that I had is, so they're doing the top 17 parks. Where does Yosemite National Park rank?
Ooh.
I think it's number two behind
yeah.
Smoky.
I believe it's number
I
two.
think
Right.
Smoky Mountain is number one.
That was my understanding, that it
Yosemite's
was in
number
the top
two.
2 or 3. And so I think whatever money is collected needs to come back to Yosemite National Park.
Well, and the nice thing is there is actually and I put it there in your memo, the Federal Lands Recreation Enhancement Act does require that 80% of an entrance fee that's collected at a park remain in that park. So 80% instead of 100.
So yeah, I would be looking for 100% of
Yeah,
the increase.
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think, and in supporting that.
Would you like me to add that then to the
I would.
correspondence? Great.
All right. If there are no other board questions, I'll ask if there's any public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would just like to direct the board and staff that the deadline for responding with comments to Interior has been extended to December 22nd, Friday, and that occurred just in the last day, so the correspondence to Interior should be reflecting that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Duke York. Duke York, speaking as a citizen of Tuolumne County and a frequent park visitor. One observation I would make in echoing both John Gray's comments and Carl Supervisor Rotifer's comments is the car issue. And one of the ways to incentivize use of the park for those portions that are not used as much is the Tioga Pass corridor and the Hetch Hetchy corridor are underutilized. And if the fees could be tiered in such a way to give some discount for utilization of those areas, it might take some pressure off the core area of Yosemite Valley. Anyhow, just a thought. Thank you.
That was discussed, Duke, at one of the meetings about, but it would, in order to do Tioga, they'd have to put another gate system there. We already have one at Hetch Hetchy, so that would be easy to do.
So, if there's no further public comment, I'm going to bring this back to the board and look for a recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Royce and a second from Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Will the clerk please read item 15?
Consideration of approving correspondence in support of the National Park Service Legacy Act.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Liz Peterson, County Administrator's Office. I am here yet again to discuss national park maintenance needs. There is no doubt that there are maintenance needs for our national park system. The National Park Service Legacy Act is a bicameral piece of legislation that encompasses S-751 and H.R. 2584. This would dedicate funds from uncredited mineral rights to address the maintenance and staff needs that have remained deferred for many years due to funding cuts to the Park Service. These mineral rights the U.S. Department of Interior is charged with managing oil, gas, and coal and other mining operations in federal lands, both onshore and offshore. And it is estimated that the amount of money that is uncredited at this time that could potentially go to national park maintenance needs would be approximately $11.3 billion over 30 years. Assemblymember Bigelow reached out to your board, Chair Brennan, requested your support for his joint resolution number 23, which urges Congress to support the National Park Service Legacy Act. In addition, the National Parks Conservation Association and the Mariposa County Board of Supervisors both also sent letters in support of the National Park Service Legacy Act. So I am here today requesting that your board approve the correspondence in support of that National Park Service Legacy Act. And this correspondence would go to our representative, Tom McClintock.
Are there any board questions?
No question, just a comment. This was discussed at Yosemite Gateway Partners, not at Great Lake, but a little bit, and it seems like it's something that certainly the Park Service is in favor of doing. I asked a question that couldn't be answered. Maybe you know the answer is, where's the money going to now?
Well, I mean, the term they use is uncredited or unassigned.
Unassigned, yeah.
I don't know if anyone knows. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, nobody, don't feel bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
But, Yeah, it was like, well, we don't know where it's going, but it's got to be going somewhere,
I'm
obviously.
sure it is, yeah.
It's probably amalgamated in their equivalent of the general fund.
Yeah, somewhere
Right.
in there. All right. I certainly would, have you already asked for comment?
I have not.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments from board members? Is there any public comment? All right, I'll bring this back.
I move that we approve the correspondence.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Gray, a second from Supervisor Rotifer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. At this time, do we still have, all right, we're going to do one more item because we have some members here that have to leave, and so I would ask the clerk to read item 17.
Not 16?
Well, I'm going to use my prerogative and
Okay,
skip. Please
perfect.
read item 17.
Consideration of awarding the contract to the lowest responsible bidder to perform the work as shown on the plan specifications and bid book for contract number 1715-4 Q and Mill Road Emergency Storm Drainage Repair Project, and increase the appropriations to the Storm Flood 2017 Fund Q and Mill Road 2017 Storm line item by $838,122, and increase revenue to Storm Flood 2017 Fund as listed in financial impact at the same amount.
Madam Chair, before
Yes.
You do staff report, I was instructed by County Council due to Government Code Section 87-100, I am obligated to recuse myself due to source of income from doing business with the owner of the company that is the apparent low bidder. So,
Thank you. Staff report.
Madam Chair, David Gonzalez, your Community Resource Agency Director. We are handing out additional information on this item with final budget numbers for this project. I want to make you aware as a board that we have been pushing this matter, both resources in from our office at CRA and the engineering department, as well as the CAO's office. Tracy Riggs and Jason Terry and Craig's team have been phenomenal to try to work with FEMA to get approval on this project. As you're all aware, we have been waiting very impatiently to move this project forward as a critical nature to this community that can be isolated if this culvert area bridge fails. So we are very proud to announce today that Tracy, Jason, and Craig's team have secured a signature for reimbursement from FEMA on this project. And that is a huge issue for us all, as we are aware, as this large dollar amount consideration. So I wanted to make note of that before we started discussing that. The second item is we have brought forward a bid package about 2.5 weeks ago. That was longer than that, actually. We had a bid walk prior to that on the job site. And with a redesign of this project and simplification to simply two very, very large culverts is what this is, and head walls, to try to make this project happen this winter. It is a risk. And I'm going to let Blossom, the lead engineer in this project, cover those areas. But this is something that we would not be here unless we felt confident. The contractor has made his presence here at my request, and I do appreciate them being here. As a token to understand, we understand how important this is to this community. And we are dedicating, both myself, my team, as well as a contractor, to make sure that we do this in the best appropriate manner that we safely can if the board decides to make this decision. So at this point, I'm going to let Blossom go to the particular design, and we'll come back to me after that. Blossom?
Good morning. Blossom Scott Heim, Associate Engineer with the CRA. As we all know, the Q and Mill Road at 5 Mile Creek Culvert catastrophically washed out during the heavy rain and flooding this past January. The Community Resources Agency hired Quincy Engineering, Inc. to prepare the plans, specifications, and bid book for the Q and Mill Road Storm Damage Repair Project. As David said, the work to be done consists in general of installing two 72-inch diameter culvert pipes, concrete head walls and wing walls, and replacing the roadway on the same alignment. We advertised for bids on October 31st, and bids were due on November 16th. We received 2 bids, and County Council has reviewed and determined that Sierra Mountain Construction, Inc. is the lowest responsible and responsive bidder to the call for bids. FEMA has determined that the project is categorically exempt under NEPA. We had an environmental review with the FEMA team and their biologists, where they determined there would be no effect on federally listed threatened and endangered species, critical habitat, or migratory birds. We also performed a record search through the California Historic Resources Information Center, and there are no resources recorded in the project vicinity. The low bid came in at $784,466. So with associated contingencies and construction engineering, that puts our total requested budget at $1,215,837, which is a variance of $838,122. What questions do you have?
Madam Chair. So I want to explain how this process has happened. As you're aware, in the budget process, when we worked with the CAO's office and our budget office to put estimates together at the very beginning of this year's budget. We have funded in total $377,000, $715 to be exact, as a preliminary budget to move forward starting back as early as March we started talking about this. So obviously when you get down to final design those all change, but that was never meant to cover the entire cost of this project. I don't want the public nor the board to think that that was the total cost of the project. That was preliminary and getting us moving forward to design in preliminary numbers. So the final proposal, roughly $785,000, is slightly higher, but I did expect numbers to be higher considering when we are proposing to do this project. You have dewatering, some diversions, and you have longer hours that are going to be asking a contractor to move into this and get this project done in a very, very tight timeline. We are exposed to the weather. Make no mistake about it. We've looked at the long-term flows. The contractor, the parent lowest bidder, yesterday I met to talk about the possibilities and opportunities to move this project forward this winter. It's obviously not ideal to do that, but we also looked at the flows into January, February, March, and April historically. And as Duke attended the meeting and I was unable to do that, we had some preliminary numbers back from our weather services. It looks like we're going to have a normal year equivalent to what we had last year. That puts rain records in 10, 15 inches of rain in several of those months, and 6 inches into April. That bridge that's there, we've all looked at it, and we're exposed to possible losing that area. We would have options how to put something back in there if we did lose that temporary bridge and the base of the existing road that's there. Looking at the flows yesterday, I personally crawled into that creek myself and looked at it, so did the contractor and some of our other team members. The flows after about a 3-inch rain occurrence was definitely manageable. And it met the specifications where we could handle that in the specifications that were laid out by Quincy Engineering on the flows. Obviously, if we get a deluge in December when we're planning on doing this, that will change everything. We will have to make a final decision on this go, no go, as we look at the weather, we mobilize, we order materials, we work with this contractor and work out timelines and options how to proceed with this removing of the box culvert, as well as possible timing on that road. We don't have the luxury to be able to do what I did in Merced, is cut down a road and just shut it off. This is the only way for these folks in and out. And I'm referring to the undercrossing project where we closed down a road. That's much easier to complete a project in that fashion. We do not have that luxury. We may have some extended closures there, and we'll have to work with those residents to try to get this in. We believe it's manageable, in talking with the contractor yesterday, Blossom, myself, to complete this work. But I want the board to understand, we all understand the risks, the contractor understands that, and we want to make sure the public understands that we understand that the risks that we're involved in here. But we also understand the isolation of 1,000+ residents is a possibility. So it's a determination the board has to make. We're here with you to make that determination and give you the best advice we can. Contractor's also here. He has stayed and changed some other jobs around to make sure that he's available to answer any questions, but also to state and show that the board, we don't usually bring contractors here for this. This is a big deal, and they recognize that as well. So I'll stop there and answer any questions that the board members happen to have.
Supervisor Gray.
Maybe question for the contractor?
Good morning. I'm Nick Nurich with Sierra Mountain Construction.
Hi, Nick. Your dad, John?
Yes, he is, unfortunately.
No, he's a good man. I've known him for about 50 years.
Thank you.
I think you graduated high school with my daughter, Courtney.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. You know, the success of this job is really dependent on how good a job that you guys do working together with the county. And I know you guys are a good company. You've done a lot of work for the county, and I just want to, just have the feeling that you guys got the willingness to get this job done, because there's a lot of people up there that depend on this happening. So,
Yeah, I agree. As Dave said, Dave and I and Blossom as well have been in pretty close contact, and we looked at this pretty hard, and we've known it was coming. Obviously, we have the temporary bridge up there that we assisted the county with last winter to kind of mitigate that situation. So, yeah, we understand the risks, but we think with the proper pre-planning and commitments from the residents in the area and the county, we think it's definitely possible and could be a successful project for both the county and ourselves.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other board questions? I just want to echo that comment, Mr. Nurich, and ask, how long do you anticipate it will take to do this project?
Depending on Mother Nature's cooperation, obviously, we think about 2 months, start to finish. The bulk of the heavy construction we're hoping can be done within approximately a 4-week period, and that would be the major disruptions to the roadway and the community. There's obviously some items on the tail end, such as some railing, some final armoring of the slopes and whatnot that will take a little bit of time, but it's not on the critical path of getting the roadway operational again 100%.
Because that really is fundamentally my concern when we talk about 1,000+ individuals with one way in and out, and
I will say
time
that
frame that we have to get this done.
we have been looking at contingency plans in the event that there is a catastrophic weather incident or whatnot during construction. So we have been looking at some contingency plans as far as getting on board some longer bridges that can be mobilized and put in place within, say, a 24-hour period if something were to happen. So we are looking, beyond just the immediate construction activities as well. So we do understand that this really is a strange situation where I myself have never been involved in a project where there literally is no access in or out of that community without this roadway. So we do understand that, and we are taking it seriously and doing the best that we can to mitigate it. And if any others in the community or at the county have any other ideas or suggestions on how to mitigate that, we are definitely open to that as well. So,
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So we have been speaking about the timing and critical path items and the implementation of how we move forward on this project. It is that area that will be either successful or not in how we choose those. Those will have risks. Both Nick and myself and Blossom talked about that yesterday, how we time this, some very creative ways of making sure we have backup plans and another backup plan on top of that. Nick mentioned the emergency. That's not going to be our only backup plan. I assure you of that. I'm confident after talking with Nick, and I do know the construction company is their abilities that we can do this. It will take a lot of cooperation, and it is not ideal. I would rather be doing this when it's not happening. However, there's a lot of risk involved by not doing it. And the flows right now appear to be in the weather outlook looks like it's favorable to us to make this happen. That can change in an instant, and we would go into alternate mode of protection, leave it, and monitor. And so I want to assure the board that we've had those plans. We will have backups on backups to make sure we try to make this happen. So I just want to make sure you guys understand we are looking at that. We're not going into this blindly.
Mr. Nerich, I'd like to thank you also for staying and hearing the concerns of this board and being available. Supervisor Hanfeld.
So, I heard all the talk. We've got a good weather window right now. When are you going to get started?
We are going to sit down as soon as he gets back and start planning. If you make a decision, we are going to start immediately and moving forward. The team has already recognized what we have. We've been looking at lead times on product already, and I would never put words in their mind, but we understand the critical nature in our window that we have. And I'll let Blossom discuss.
We're looking tentatively at starting the week of December 4th. We've got to get a few things in place, and then they've got some lead time on some materials.
One of the things that keeps happening every year is asphalt plants close in the wintertime. What are we doing to make sure that that doesn't impact us?
We'll temporary that in.
The paving will be fairly minimal on this project. The amount, it's only a short section of roadway. Typically, the hot plants in the valley will stay open. So Munn and Perkins with George Reed down in the Escalon area, and then the Houston CMI plants will also should be available.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, it's not ideal to pave in colder weather. Where it is and the critical nature of it. We'll just have to see what that is. We could temporary it in and do a final payment.
I got my question answered. Thanks.
You had public comment?
I'm going there next.
Okay.
Are there any other board questions? Is there any public comment?
I just want to be really clear. So you said we got a positive signature for reimbursement. So does that mean it's not going to cost us anything in the long run? There's no match. FEMA will reimburse us for our expenses. What's it going to cost me?
Ms. Riggs?
Okay, so when we have a federal proclamation, the way that the reimbursement works is FEMA reimburses 75% of the eligible cost. The state reimburses 18.75, and then we have a 6 1/4 match. So there is a match on this.
So that's not currently in the budget, correct? Oh, it is. Okay. Okay. I guess I can live with that. And then my other question was, I didn't hear anybody address this. Have you met with the neighborhood up there so that they're on board, they know what's happening? We don't have people coming here all riled up because...
We will be doing extensive outreach. We've met with the immediate neighbors that are most impacted to get in and out of there. So the plan is, if the board makes a motion to move forward, that will be the first thing that my team does is makes the announcement, and I'll be talking on the radio on a regular basis, time for update for people.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Similar, but a little more pointed. Former Commander, Highway Patrol, Mike Ayala, Cedar Ridge was a large concern of ours during fires, floods, washouts, what have you. Many of those communities, one way in, one way out, they were all on our minds and all on our list. And it's very similar to what the young lady before me spoke about, but I would ask for a public outreach. Not radio, not just newspaper, but actually have some kind of a meeting at the fire station where they can see some maps, they can come and talk to you, they can come and ask questions, you can talk to them. It doesn't have to be a formal speech event, but a real public outreach where they can come and get information shortly before or at least that first week of construction. There are a lot of people up there. They are very concerned about that bridge right now. I still hear about it. I have a lot of friends up there, and I would strongly encourage that outreach.
That's a great idea. All right. No other public comment. I'm going to bring this back to the board.
Madam Chairman, this is District 2, and so I'll make the motion, but I just want to make a comment that, in my opinion, FEMA let us down on this because we've been beating on FEMA for a very long time, and I'm going to say 6 months to get this thing done. We need to continue to put pressure on our federal agencies and our support agencies so that we can, in fact, do this kind of repair in a timely manner. I thank Mike Ayala for that suggestion. I think that's a good suggestion. I think we need to do that. So with that, I'll move in favor of staff recommendations so we get this thing done as quickly as possible.
Second.
Safety of our people.
I have a motion from Supervisor Hanfeld, a second from Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with Supervisor Royce recused.
Thank you.
Thank you, I think.
At this time, we will take a
Kidding.
10-minute recess. All right, supervisors, if you will rejoin me at the dais, please.
I know exactly my half-life. Yeah. Come on.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jason. How are you?
You still here?
We can solve that quickly.
All right, before we go to the 11 a.m. appointment, I would like the clerk to please read item 16 first.
Consideration of allocating $794,000 to the roadway improvement on Tuolumne Road between Lambert Lakes and Terrace Drive from the Tribe Road Mitigation Fund and increase appropriations in the Public Works Project Tuolumne Road widening line item by $106,000 and increase the revenue to Public Works Project Funds, other government ME WUC Tribe Fund line item in the same amount.
Staff report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board. Gadiel DiMattei, Assistant Engineer with the CRA. Yes, vote on the item before you will allocate $794,000 from the Tribal Mitigation Fund to the project titled Roadway Improvements on Tuolumne Road between Lambert Lake Road and Terrace Drive. In July of 2013, your board authorized staff to apply for Highway Safety Improvement Program Cycle 6. This program is known as the HSIP. The project was awarded $723,000. 90% of that is funded by the federal government and 10% is funded by the county. During the application process, staff was not able to perform a survey of the project area. After funds were available, a consultant was hired to survey and design the project. The 30% design revealed that the project will require larger retaining walls than originally scoped. The project will also require right-of-way acquisition that was not anticipated. The design consultant submitted an engineer's estimate with the 30% design of over $4.3 million just for construction. This is not including county staff time or right-of-way acquisitions. Staff asked the designer to perform value engineering in order to reduce the costs as much as possible while still fulfilling the safety goals of the project. After several design iterations, the designer was able to bring the construction cost from $4.3 million down to $895,000. This was accomplished by proposing narrower shoulders and lanes and by proposing alternative types of retaining walls. The current cost estimate for the entire project, including staff time and everything, is $1,517,000. Because this project is 90% federally funded through Caltrans, staff has had a very lengthy and formal conversation with Caltrans regarding this funding issue. Staff requested that additional federal funds be allocated to the project, but Caltrans advised that that would not be possible and that the county would need to either fund the remaining balance or request the project to be closed out. If the county chooses to close out the project, then Caltrans will determine if the county is liable to repay the funds that have already been spent on the project. At this time, staff is recommending that your board allocate $723,000 to the project. $106,000 would be allocated to this fiscal year. And I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
How much has been spent by us so far? Would we be obligated to pay back if we said we didn't want to do it?
$62,551 as of last month. The county's already paid 10% of that, so we'd need to pay the remaining 90% of it.
Okay. And is there another cycle where these grant fundings would be available in the future, or how far out is it?
It wouldn't be possible to allocate any more funds from the HSIP program.
Okay.
We had a lot of conversations with Caltrans trying to get those funds.
All right.
Any other board questions? Supervisor Royce.
Yeah. Did you already take public comment? I was
Nope.
just going to make a motion.
Oh, no, I'm asking for board questions at this time. All right, is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Yeah, I'll make a motion on staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
I have a motion from Supervisor Royce, a second from Supervisor Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thanks, thank you.
Will the clerk please read our 11 a.m. appointment?
This is consideration of approving an award of an agreement with Moss Construction Management Services for the new jail project.
Ms. Frank.
Yeah, good morning. Maureen Frank, and with me today is Dave Burton from Moss Construction Management. Here today before your board for consideration is the second phase of our contract with Moss Construction Management for the jail project. As your board is well aware, staff is looking at and anticipating starting construction January 2018. And so it is time to look at putting everything together for the start of that project, and entering into a second contract with Moss is the appropriate time at this juncture. As you know, in July 2016, the county engaged Moss Construction Management to assist us in construction management services for the jail project. At that time, their scope of work was divided into 2 phases. And in the first phase of their contract, they had the responsibilities for the following items: review of the building design and its functions, evaluate alternative methods and materials. They were to provide a constructability review of the plans and specifications, provide a master construction schedule, and then take responsibility for the administration of the bidding process. all of those tasks have been completed now, and as I said, we're looking forward to phase 2 of the project. The second phase includes the following activities or the following tasks is what we're going to be asking Moss to do. Those include construction management oversight, construction project contract administration, project record keeping, monthly status reports both for the county and for the state, review and processing construction submittals, requests for information, payment applications, proposed change orders, construction observations, and then coordination both with the State Fire Marshal's Office and our special testing consultants. Coordination and oversight of the construction meetings that we'll be having once a week. They'll be looking at cost evaluation, cost control. They'll be evaluating the schedule on a regular basis. They'll be looking at quality assurance and control. They'll be doing closeout coordination with the contractor and the state. They'll be walking through with the contractor and the county in regards to the punch list and final inspections, and coordination of both the substantial and final completion with the contractor. The contract before you for consideration, as I said, is for phase 2. And in preparation for that, staff is aware that your board has several concerns regarding a not-to-exceed contract when it comes for this kind of services. And towards that effort, County Council has worked with counsel from Moss, and they have made some minor changes in this agreement before you for your consideration today. The concerns of both staff and board revolves around the issue of the construction schedule and going beyond. For example, in this case, this project is slated to run 20 months. And at no fault of the state or the staff, how do we handle that situation? To this end, you have asked staff to really look at best practices and what have we learned from the previous projects that we've had, and what can we do to ensure that there's a smooth operation of this construction project, and ensuring that the 20 months that we have slated for this project is good and enough to be able to get the project done in a timely manner. So to that end, staff has worked with the architect and Moss Construction Management to ensure plans and specifications for the jail are clean, they're tight, and they're buildable. You know, that was one of the things that we spent extra time on that we had because of the State Fire Marshal's Office review period going longer. We went back, all three entities, the county, the architects, and the construction management firm Moss, and made sure that those plans were good. And we saw that results of that through the bidding process. All the bids that we received were really tight and really close together. So it means that we had good plans out there. We also only issued, I believe, two addendums for this project, so it wasn't as many. We had over 7 for the juvenile facility. The roles and required tasks for the construction manager, the county staff has really well defined in the contract that we have here, and has been expressly communicated to Moss as far as what we expect them to do, what are their roles and responsibilities, and what we're asking them to provide to us. We have shifted the construction schedule from January, the dead of winter, which we could run into some really major issues regarding the weather, and we switched it to March to improve the likelihood of a really good start out of the gate for this project. County Council has worked, as I said, with the Moss Council and making some minor changes to the agreement. This agreement template before you, we have pretty much a standard agreement template. This one's slightly different in regards to trying to get at that issue of the project timeline. If basically the added language that was put into this contract says that if there's an extension of the project timeline, an amendment to this agreement will be made well in advance of the end of the project. And all the costs associated with this extra work is spelled out in the contract and already laid out, so we've already agreed on that situation. So before you today for your consideration is a second phase contract with Moss Construction Management in the amount of $1,355,154. The money for this is already contained in your capital budget under the Law and Justice project line item. County Council, as I said, has been extensively involved in this contract and working with Moss's council. And so at this time, staff is recommending your approval of this agreement. And David and I are here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Supervisor Royce.
Sure. Thank you, first of all, David, for being here, and Mo for all your work on this. I think
You're
staff's
welcome.
done a really good job in doing their homework and due diligence and trying to make sure that we do the groundwork at the front end of this project to prevent issues on the back end. And I think during the course of construction and closeout for the juvenile project, we've learned some lessons, and we're trying to prevent those things from repeating. One of the things I believe in strongly when you're doing business is to align our objectives and share risk. And I think this contract, one of the things I don't like about it is I don't feel like Moss has any risk, and I feel like the county has all the risk. And I also feel like, I know this is an industry standard and it's nothing unique, but just from my perspective, there's nothing besides Moss's goodwill that prevents us from having extensions and things like that. In the case of supervising and advising on things like change orders and adjustments in the plan that would affect budget and schedule, there's a negative incentive from my perspective in here for Moss. Not that you would ever do this, but just from the sake, like I said, contracts, in my opinion, should reflect what we're trying to achieve, and that's preventing those things. And there's kind of a reverse incentive for that, that if we have those things, we would be granting additional time and additional money to Moss. So I like to, I don't know what other options there would be and how to do that, and I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, but those are my thoughts, and I would love to find a way, like I said, to share some level of risk. It doesn't have to be, backbreaking, but something to where it's in your interest not to see the project go longer, and in your interest not to see the cost increase. And the way this is established, I don't see that, and we rely 100% on integrity, and I don't doubt that at all, but it does give people in the field, which I'm sure will not be you, the ability to be more laxed and less aggressive about managing the project. And I've seen it as projects start, things seem like they're on track. You get to that like 60-70% phase, and if it's not super tight, things start to go sideways a little bit. And the board up here, we don't have our fingers in it, and our day-to-day kind of interaction with the project, with the juvenile project. At the very, very end, we started becoming aware of all these issues that we had no idea about. So incentives, I would love to find a way to do that to where we're aligned. And I appreciate, Mo, the modifications that you worked with council on to talk about the not to exceed portion. I would like to know specifically so I see in here in the contract, we're going to pay within 30 days. I was curious what their pay application process will be. Is it a 30-day submittal for application for payment? And if so, I'm sure there will be a summary of hours. And what I'm trying to say is I want to keep it current. I don't want it to where we go for 4 months and we don't know where you guys are at. And if we monitor the project as we go, it's easier to keep a grip on it.
So to give you a little bit level of confidence, one of the things that we did during Phase 1, again, lessons learned, is during Phase 1 contract with Moss, what Moss did with me is we set up a summary sheet. So every month when they submitted a bill, I know how much percentage was left and how many hours they had and what we did. And actually in Phase 1, we didn't use all the hours. And we weren't billed for all the hours. Mm-hmm. So they were really judicious in regards to looking at their contract and how many hours they had. And if we didn't need as many hours as they had proposed for a certain month, that's okay. They carried over to those. We didn't lose those hours, and we weren't billed for those hours. They just came out at the next month. The other thing is the 30 days is pretty much a standard in regards to the county as far as us having to pay our bills within 30 days.
That's fine.
So, yeah, so that's something that is normal for us. And so Moss has been very good about getting us their bills promptly and on time as close to the end of the month. And then we, as staff, turn around and get those claims processed through our auditor controller's office.
So,
Let me give Supervisor Gray an opportunity, and then I'll come back if your questions are still.
So, in looking at the contract, and I always look at experience. With our previous project, we didn't have much experience with the person that we were working with. We have a track record with Moss now, correct? And that track record has been, in your opinion?
Has been excellent. They have provided all the information that I've ever requested of them. They have timely responses to my phone calls or to my emails. They have, as I said, gave me a summary sheet. We worked out ahead of time in regards to keeping track of the hours and working with me as far as, look, I'm seeing that I'm going to need more time during the bidding process than I do right now, working through the state with some of the issues, so we were able to adjust hours. So I found them very accommodating in that regards.
Okay. Supervisor Royce, he has some really good points there. And the problem, though, we have is there's always could be an unknown out there. And to try to write something that covers every single unknown is to me is an impossible task. So I get back to track record, experience. Went through your bio. Obviously, you guys have tons of experience. So my question would be, on all that experience, do you consistently run under budget or over budget on your projects?
Typically under budget and ahead of schedule.
Okay.
The speaker on?
Yeah.
I can address that a little more, to his concerns. I mean, quite frankly, up until 3 years ago, we were singing from the same hymnal. I grew up as a hard bid contractor and didn't see a lot of use in what they call agency CM. I always felt like they were just shuffling paper and making sure it didn't land on their desk, keeping it from the owner to the contractor, not doing a darn thing to help facilitate a project. Well, I think within our presentation, within our proposal, that's exactly what we represented. Is we're not that construction manager. We understand the importance of having a role, helping, facilitate the discussions. You chose to use a hard bid process, which meant, you told somebody, go out there, get low. Well, that means, go find the cheapest way to answer the question, which may not be the best in all our eyes. But part of what we understand of that is get out in front of it, find those issues, and let's resolve it before it's out in the field, minimize the impact in the budget and schedule. I mean, we understand that is our role, is to maintain the budget and the schedule, minimize impacts. You don't have hard bid and have zero change orders. There's going to be issues. Nobody's perfect. Things happen and unforeseen. That's just life in construction. Our role is to minimize those to the impact of the county.
Supervisor Hanfield or Rutherford? All right. So I will ask if there's any public comment. All right, I'm going to bring it back to the board.
Just one question. I'm okay with it, but I do just want to ask, because I don't know the answer. Is there a way, a contractual mechanism that we could put in place to incentivize you, besides just a pat on the back and you guys doing a great job, to actually keep the project from extending or costing more?
We'd love to see one. The trouble is it's hard to measure, and it's hard to. I had this discussion with Ms. Franks earlier, and when we were talking about this language, is that it's hard to define. You know, what I committed to her is that we get nothing out of a time extension, or, you know, we do not want extra time on this job. We don't make any money. You know, these aren't big money makers for us. This is good exposure and resume, and you know, when we're building our presence in California, you know, we're out here to you know, have a good job, have a good reference. You know, our goal at the end of this job is to have every one of you, you know, waving our flag that we're a great CM. The trouble is, and I was explaining to her, is that when we run into that unforeseen, you know, ultimately the goal is unspent money and unused time. You know, how do you measure that, though? So, you know, that's our goal anyway. I mean, taking the project, it's our goal to be done ahead of schedule and under budget. If you can figure out a way to measure that, I'd love to have an incentive, you know, more incentive. But the trouble is, to create that incentive, you also have to create a negative. And quite frankly, the definition of the role and unforeseen and the cooperation of the contractor, you know, there's things we can't control. I can guarantee we will be working our hardest and facilitating the discussions. You know, I preach to my guys, over-communicate. You know, don't leave anybody guessing. Your speculation is my worst enemy. So you need to understand where we're going, what we're doing, and not have to guess. And we need to get out in front of that contractor, anticipate the problems, and resolve them before they're, you know, let's don't make mountains out of molehills.
I appreciate that. That's a good answer.
I'm just not sure how you would do it. I'd love to see it, though.
Just figure it out.
Well, the biggest thing I thought of was fixing the price instead of doing rates and a T&M deal with, I mean, we have a not to exceed, but if we get 3/4 of the way done and the project's been extended, we're going to have to pull out the checkbook again. And the only other way to do that, like I said, is hard bid. With this type of industry, I know that's not normal and it doesn't really work. So I'm okay with that. Let me just, I know I'm talking a lot. Let me just give you a quick pep talk. Not that you need one from me, but I just want this on the record, and I just want staff to hear it as well. And then I'll leave everybody alone and let us move on. Mo is an absolute sweetheart with a huge heart, and we send her out with these contractors, and I feel like we're feeding her to the wolves sometimes. And that's why we have guys like you, is to help protect them, guide our staff, guide our county, defend our county. Contractor, I'm a contractor, and I'm a contractor to make money, not because it's a fun hobby. And I understand there's different types of contractors. There's ones that have high levels of integrity, and there's ones that hunt for change orders, and they spin things, and they'll flood you with RFIs and play that game, and that's why there's guys like you that, like I said, defend us. So I expect you to do that. I expect you to have our best interest, and I expect you as a leader in your company to help delegate that down the line and make sure those people are on the ball every step of the way through the project. And I am confident that we'll get that from you guys because you've done well so far. The biggest linchpin, I believe, for that to happen is the communication all the way through. I would like to see information coming back to our board, and maybe the committee, the jail committee, is the best way to do that, or we can talk about this a little more after the fact, I think, but I want us to be informed. We don't want to be surprised with change orders. We don't want to be so we'll, you know, when there's hard pills, we'll swallow them, and we'll make those decisions, but we want that courtesy. So I look forward to working with you guys on this, and I appreciate you humoring me with my concerns and my questions. And
Supervisor Rutherford.
Yeah, we've already had this discussion in the jail committee, and we fully intend, obviously as needed, but we're going to either every other month or quarterly write herd on the project. So monthly if we need to do that. I don't like to have meetings for meeting's sake, so we'll play it by ear. But we are committed, and I think The reason Moe's forehead is getting a little flat is because we keep pinging on it, okay, about that. And I think everybody on the jail committee understands that the need for communication. So I think I'm very comfortable that, I mean, is it fail-safe? I don't know of a fail-safe solution, but I'm very comfortable that there's going to be Board of Supervisor level oversight over this all the way through. And if we need to, we'll be bringing it, obviously, back to the board as a whole.
All right. So I'm looking for a
Since
motion.
I took up most of the time, I'll make a motion based on the staff recommendation. And once again, thank you for being here. And Mo, thanks for your work on this.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Royce, a second from Supervisor Rotifer. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much for being here today. All right. Will the clerk please read item 18?
Consideration of approving a multi-county agreement with Merced, Stanislaus, Madera, Mariposa, and Calaveras counties for crisis residential services and recognizing $40,000 in revenue from the multi-county agreement and appropriation in the same amount.
Mr. Boyack.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Steve Boyack from Behavioral Health. This has been quite the long process to get this contract before your board. And I'll start with a little history. The Investment in Mental Health Wellness Act of 2013 established a competitive grant program to disperse funds to California counties for the purpose of developing mental health crisis support programs. Specifically, the funds were meant to increase capacity for client assistance and services, crisis intervention, crisis stabilization, crisis residential treatment, rehabilitative mental health services, and mobile crisis support teams. Back in January and September of 2014, Merced County submitted joint funding applications to the California Health Facilities Financing Authority. I will refer to those folks as CHAFA. On behalf of Merced, Stanislaus, Madera, Mariposa, Calaveras, and Tuolumne counties to build a 16-unit crisis residential facility in Merced County. At that time, it was recommended that Tuolumne County not submit our own independent grant application, but rather submit a letter of support to Merced County to proceed independently with a grant application with the intent of future utilization of the facility should Merced be awarded. By the end of 2014, Merced County was awarded a little over $3.5 million pursuant to those applications in joint funding grants from CHAFA. And Merced County now wishes to establish a multi-county consortium agreement, which is attached to the staff report, with Mariposa, Madera, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and Stanislaus counties for crisis residential treatment services, whereby Merced County will serve as the host for this agreement. The CRU is currently under construction and is supposed to be completed by the end of February 2018 with an opening ceremony sometime in March of 2018. So what is a crisis residential unit? In this case, a crisis residential unit will focus on serving individuals in crisis who do not require hospitalization, who are able to achieve stabilization through a self-help setting with a lower level of support than a hospital would provide. And so we're looking for volunteers that would actively pursue treatment through this facility. It is intended not to go beyond 30-day stays, and preference will be given to consumers from the 6-county consortium in this region who are eligible to Medi-Cal or who are indigent. And having a crisis, I can't say this enough, having a crisis residential option for our clients is a desirable component to our 24/7 crisis response system. Some of the outcomes that we are looking for are reduced average time for visits in our emergency room here at our hospital, reduced psychiatric inpatient utilization, increased consumer satisfaction with crisis services received, and the value of crisis residential beds compared to psychiatric beds. This agreement will allow Tuolumne County to participate in the consortium to increase availability of nearby crisis beds to serve our clients and receive the benefit of $40,000 towards a crisis support vehicle and telecommunications equipment for our crisis support program. So what are some of the next steps and some of the obligations on behalf of our county leading on into the future? As the lead agent, Merced County will be responsible for drafting and releasing a request for a proposal to seek a qualified vendor that will operate the CRU. Merced County, with participation from the counties involved, will work together to select a vendor during this RFP process. It is expected that the county will enter into an agreement with the vendor to utilize the CRU. Since the vendor that will operate the CRU has yet to be selected and the bed rates have yet to be determined, our county administrator, Craig Pedro, and the county CEO of Merced, Mr. James Brown, got together and met and discussed some of the obligations moving into the future. Out of that conversation, Mr. Brown provided a letter to the county on November 15, 2017, assuring that Tuolumne County Behavioral Health would be only billed for bed days used by the county once the vendor selection has been completed. This agreement then would be treated like other agreements behavioral health has executed in the past for these placement services. So the multi-agency agreement will be cost neutral to the county. There is no financial impact to the county's general fund since all of the residential costs will be borne by the behavioral health budget. And as described previously, the county will only be responsible for bed days used. So with that, it is respectfully recommended that your board approve the multi-county agreement with Merced, Stanislaus, Madera, Mariposa, Calaveras, and Tuolumne counties for crisis residential services, whereby Merced County will be the host county for the agreement, and recognize $40,000 in unanticipated revenue from this agreement and increase appropriations by the same amount in the behavioral health budget pursuant to the line items identified in the staff report, and authorize the county administrator, the Human Services Agency Director, and the Acting Behavioral Health Director to sign this agreement. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any board questions?
I think Mr. Boyack did a good job of explaining everything. Randy, you had a question? Go ahead.
I do have a question. Are we signing a blank check here? I mean, this is built with grant funds, this facility, right? Okay.
That is correct.
So we don't know what the costs are, but we're committing to use it?
We are committing to enter into an RFP process to find a vendor that would later result in a contract for use. But I will just say this, Supervisor. We have 10 other contracts in place for similar purposes as we speak. We have had conversation with Merced County on a range of bed rates that we would expect to see coming out of the contract, and it could range anywhere between 370 on the low end to possibly a little over 700 on the high end. I think the 700 a day bed rate is high. That's a hospitalization rate. I don't think we're going to be looking at that. This CRU is specifically built for less than hospitalization. So I would have to guess that we would be looking at a rate between maybe 370 and 500, somewhere in there. And I will also say this, that when we're seeking out a bed for a constituent here or a client here in Tuolumne County, availability is first and foremost, depending on the level of need. And then we would exercise our ability to place that person at the next available bed. So to answer your question, the letter and the agreement that Merced County has made with Tuolumne County and Mr. Pedro is that we would only be paying a bed rate for the days used in the CRU, and that they would become part of a cadre of contracts available for that use.
So if I can jump in, just it's clearly we'll only pay if we place them there, and it's choice and rate's part of the choice. But it's nice to have the choice, because that's where I was coming from with my peer in Merced County. Just wanted to make sure that we're not obligated to any fixed days, with dedicated beds at a certain rate that's yet to be determined, and so forth. We want to be able to know what those rates are and be able to decide whether we want to place someone there or not, and only be billed if we do use beds. We place them there, and then we're knowingly going in using the bed at whatever the rate may be. We can participate in the process, as Steve said, as far as getting a vendor. We'll be part of that process and arriving at some rates, but it'll be our decision to use it or not, and rate the cost as part of that decision.
Where are the other 10 facilities located?
They are located between Fresno and Sacramento and the Bay Area.
So this facility most likely would be closer for if other family members were available to assist in or
absolutely
visit.
Absolutely.
All right. Are there any other board questions? Is there any public comment?
I would just like to know, is there an age range on this facility? Because we've had trouble with getting placement for children.
Yes, it's meant to be an adult facility.
Is there any other public comment? All right, I'm going to bring this back to the board.
Move on staff recommendation.
I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer, a second from Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's do item 19.
Reports.
And I will start to my right with Mr. Pedro.
I'll just mention that with the CSAC conference coming up and the holidays, your board should be aware that our deadline for the December 5th board meeting is today for items, so that we're going to have things out tomorrow, for you, and department heads have been briefed on that, and we will still have a full agenda, but it'll be somewhat limited because of the turnaround time between this meeting and the next. But some of the topics we'll have will be a thorough discussion about NDRC, for example. We'll have the state team, here. We'll be talking about your upcoming retreat, just trying to set the date and talk about our facilitator, things of that nature. But a full agenda, probably more abbreviated than others. That's it.
Supervisor Hanfeld.
Yeah, just one information item, Madam Chairman. Natural Resources Committee is working on a master stewardship agreement with the Forest Service. A couple of things. There's some significant urgency associated with doing that because we don't want to miss the next funding cycle, nor do we want to miss the next season for logging. I believe our infrastructure is at risk, and we all know about the condition of our forest. The county will be the main signatory on this. There is a cancellation clause, a termination clause in it that allows us to get out if it isn't. YSS cannot do this, in my opinion, because I don't believe they're a legal entity of any kind. However, the intent would be to use Tuolumne River Trust to manage it under our direction, if you will, and move forward. We are already working on getting projects scoped out that this could be done on. This work would all be in addition to what the Forest Service is already doing. The idea is to get our forest back into a fire resilient condition back into a healthy condition, and it will take years and years, as everybody knows, to do that. But we need to get started, and we need to get started because salvage timber is no longer a way of life in Tuolumne County. It's gone, and we need to keep our infrastructure if we're ever going to get there. So it's information that will be coming to you soon. Sooner the better, but I'm not sure exactly when.
Supervisor Gray.
Yeah, just a quick report. I want to thank Linda Downey and Dan Hawks for attending the Grover Rotary meeting last Tuesday. They gave a really good presentation on probation and the juvenile facility. So it's good to be able to have those people get out in the community and let us know what's going on. So that's it.
Supervisor Royce.
Let's see. The only thing that's really pertinent that I want to share, I had a meeting with a couple of folks from the Tuolumne Park and Rec District, and they requested a meeting with me. Just they wanted to inform me as a courtesy that they have a piece of property right in the core of Tuolumne that's several acres that they plan on offering up as a donation for Resiliency Community Center for our NDRC project. And I know that hasn't come to fruition yet. They're working on the background materials to prepare for when the time's appropriate to submit that information. But it's very interesting, and I think it will be a great thing when the time comes. So just food for thought.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Sure. As your NACO rep, I participated in both the EELU and the Western Region conference calls, and I forwarded a summary of those to, I believe, the CAO and also Liz. I did go up to Sacramento and met with a couple other county supervisors on marijuana and specifically concerns about water quality and those kinds of things. So there are some things that, as we go forward, we really need to seriously consider in terms of what the potential for particularly outdoor grows, but also indoor grows, if they're not managed correctly, might have on our groundwater table, and ultimately groundwater ends up in surface water, so it'll affect us all. I did scramble back from that meeting, thankfully, to watch once again our very own Carlin Drivdahl exceed her previous best in AB 1234 ethics training. So I'm fully ethics trained for the next 2 years, according to the state of California. I did meet with Greg Martin. He and I have not had he's the state parks guy, and he and I have not had an opportunity, just because our schedules haven't worked out, for probably several months to meet. And so we did discuss some issues in and around the parks, some vendor issues, and a new business is going to start out up in there fairly soon. So it's always good to work with him. And I did go to the, along with at least one, I think two other supervisors, I can't remember, to the Business Council meeting hosted by TCAR. Very, very good meeting. Had a very in-depth finance discussion about presentation about the future of the United States financial picture, and that was kind of interesting. And then if you haven't been to White Christmas, SRT's production, it's worth going. I did that on the 17th, so great production.
County Council has no report. Ms. Jamar?
No report, thank you.
All right. And I have a borrowed computer and cannot access my calendar, so for today, no report. Will you please read our closed session items?
Number 20 is closed session conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Authority Government Code Section 54956, 9D1, Dillian versus Isley versus County of Tuolumne, Tuolumne County Superior Court case number CV 60749. And is number 2 going or no? It's just number 1.
And will you also read our 12 o'clock appointment?
Okay. We have to read that at
we
12.
We will be back. All right. Thank you for that clarification. All right. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we will recess to closed session. And we have nothing to report out. Will the clerk please read our 12 o'clock appointment?
This is closed session, Public Employee Performance Evaluation Authority Government Code, Section 54957B1. The title is Public Defender.
Is there any public comment?
I'm not sure exactly who this encompasses, but I will just say that I have gone to court several times with some families from the mentally ill, and I have been very impressed with our public defenders. And I see how difficult it is. Sometimes they come in and they don't know who their clients are, and then all of a sudden, here's this and do that. But I've seen them do some very creative things and do some things that have been very beneficial, I think, to their clients. So I've been pretty impressed. It was better than I kind of expected, and so they're worthy of some kudos.
Thank you. All right, we will adjourn to closed session. Okay, it is 1:30 and we are back from closed session. Will the clerk please read our first 1:30 appointment?
Public hearing to consider submitting a 2017 Community Development Block Grant application and adoption a resolution for the Jamestown Wastewater Treatment Facility Improvement Project.
Good afternoon, Terry Cox, Cox Consulting. I do have my regular voluntary sign-in sheet for anybody that's attending this public hearing, and written comments regarding the county's Community Development Block Grant Program can be addressed to the County Administrative Office. So, you all will remember that we started this process of preparing a 2017 Community Development Block Grant application, or CDBG application, back in September. We issued a call for projects and got 2 responses, and the one that was most shovel-ready was the Jamestown Wastewater Treatment Facilities Improvement Project. So, this project will relocate and upgrade the Jamestown Wastewater Treatment Plant to avoid discharge into Woods Creek during heavy rain events. And it also will give Jamestown Sanitary District, which is the operator of the facility, emergency capacity and redundancies to cover any future equipment malfunction. So the project cost is approximately $10,718,000, and of that, State Water Resources Control Board State Revolving Fund will provide a grant, approximately $5,600,000. The Community Development Block Grant would be $5 million, and then Jamestown Sanitary will provide, it's actually $110,000 is what the resolution will be. So this will benefit everybody in Jamestown Sanitary District's service area, which is approximately 1,175 residences, and according to the income survey of Jamestown that was completed in summer of 2016, 68.8% of those people were lower income. So I am happy to answer any questions that you have about the application.
Thank you for the report. Are there any board questions? All right. Seeing none, this is a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing at 1:33. Is there any public comment?
Good afternoon. Patty Ingalls, District Manager for the Jamestown Sanitary District. I spoke to you before when we were getting ready with this application, and I just wanted to thank the Board of Supervisors, Terry Cox, Maureen Frank, for the quick turnaround for our application. We have actually started our design, and we are ready to go, and we appreciate your consideration. On behalf of the Jamestown Sanitary District, the Board of Directors, and most importantly, our ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right, seeing no one, we will close the public hearing at 1:34. Supervisor Rotifer.
Yeah, I'd like to move on staff recommendation to submit the 2017 Community Develop Block Grant application and adopting the resolution for the Jamestown Wastewater Treatment Facilities Improvement Project in the amount of $5 million to the State Department of Housing and Community Development.
So I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer, a second from Supervisor Royce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And Terry, I'd like to thank you again. As always, you do a very concise.
Well, keep your fingers crossed. There's not that much money, and it's very competitive this year.
Thank you for all the hard work.
Right, thank you.
All right. Will the clerk please read our second 1:30 appointment?
This is a public hearing to consider a Bodorak application to rescind the Williamson Act contract and in order to enter into a new Williamson Act land conservation contract.
Good afternoon, ladies.
I don't.
Oh,
It's stuck.
sorry.
Plugged in here. Otherwise, you can do it without it.
Mm-hmm.
start with it.
Okay.
You guys are on.
Hello, my name is Renee Hendry. I'm the project planner for the Buterac Williamson Act contract WA 17-004. Tuolumne County has certain vision, mission, and values that we use to process every application we have for Tuolumne County. One of them is to encourage innovative and creative approaches to problem solving. Brandon Buterac applied for a Williamson Act contract WA 17-004 to rescind an existing Williamson Act contract, which is contract 04 WA-36, in order to enter into a new land conservation contract on a 365-acre parcel, including approval of the new agricultural management plan. The project is located at 8101 Priest Cultiville Road, approximately 4 miles southeast of the intersection of State Highway 120 and Priest Cultiville Road. The existing zoning is AE 37AP, which is exclusive agricultural 37-acre minimum, agricultural preserve combining, and the general plan land use designation of the site is agricultural. The state's Williamson Act Land Conservation Program began in 1965 to allow a property owner to enter into a contract to restrict the development of the property for a period of 10 years. And in exchange for that, the property owner obtains a tax reduction on the property. Every 10 years, and on every December 31st, it's automatically renewed for yet another 10 years until a notice of non-renewal is served on the property. Resolution 10604 is how Tuolumne County enforces the state's Williamson Act program. Rule 4A1C of Resolution 10604 states that any proposed utilization for commercial agricultural operations shall be existing at the time of recommendation of approval by the Agricultural Advisory Committee. The minimum parcel size or contract size for dryland grazing is 160 acres. The project site is 365 acres, which more than meets the minimum for dryland grazing contract. The property is located in Agricultural Preserve 107, which also contains 3 other assessor parcels. The project was considered by the Tuolumne County Agriculture Advisory Committee at its meeting on September 21st, 2017. At that meeting, the Agriculture Advisory Committee unanimously recommended approval of rescinding the existing contract in order to enter a new Williamson Act land conservation contract. The Board of Supervisors may either approve the project as is, approve the project with modifications, deny the project altogether, or even send the project back to staff for any kind of changes that needs to be made. It is recommended by the Community Resources Agency that your board approves rescinding the existing Williamson Act contract in order to execute a new Williamson Act contract based upon findings 1A through 1D. It is also recommended that your board approve the new agricultural management plan based upon findings 2A through 2F. Any questions?
Are there any board questions? All right.
Not a question, but I'm trying to find when I was reading the backup material. This is under an existing Williamson Act that's getting almost ready to come out of a Williamson Act. Is that correct?
Yes, the previous property owner decided to serve themselves a notice of non-renewal, and it's about 8 years into the non-renewal. The new property owner purchased the property either last year or very recently and has decided that he would like to stay in the Williamson Act program.
Okay. I think that's the first one we've ever had like that,
so.
isn't it? Okay, no more questions.
All right, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing at 1:42. And is there anyone that would like to speak? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing at 1:43 and bring it back to the board.
Madam Chair, I would like to move that we rescind Williamson Act Contract 04 WA-36 in order to approve Williamson Act Contract WA 17-004 based on findings 1A through D, 1A through 1D, and approve the agricultural management plan prepared for the project based on findings 2A through 2E of the report.
I have a motion from Supervisor Gray, a second from Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Will the clerk please read our third 1:30 appointment?
This is a public hearing to consider the appeal of the Tuolumne County Planning Commission's decision regarding Boudreaux. It's a conditional use permit.
All right.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The item before you is an appeal of the Planning Commission's October 4th approval of the conditional use permit 17-005 for a wireless telecommunications tower facility. Over the weekend, it was brought to the county's attention that the posting of the October 4th Planning Commission agenda did not satisfy the requirements of the Brown Act, as it was not posted in a location freely accessible to members of the public. County staff is recommending your board return this project to the Planning Commission to correct the inadvertent Brown Act error. To make it clear for the public, under this recommendation, the Board of Supervisors would not hold a public hearing on this appeal today. Instead, the Planning Commission would hold a new public hearing on this project at a properly noticed and agendized meeting. If someone is then dissatisfied with the Planning Commission's decision, that decision can be appealed to the Board of Supervisors under the procedures set forth in the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you for that. Are there any board questions?
Just a clarification. Based on this recommendation, we are only considering at this time whether to send
And I
it
will make
back.
that right when we go to public comment.
Okay.
Yes, if the desire of the board is to follow Mr. Ifdahl's counsel.
Okay.
All right. So that everyone understands, we are going to send this item back to the Planning Commission. And so if you, I'd like to ask if there's any public comment on the issue of sending this project back to the Planning Commission.
Hi there. My name's Robert Tyndall. I'm a local educator here in the county. And my daughter is at the Sierra Waldorf School, and I'd like to thank you for your transparency and responsibility in sending this back so the process can begin again and our community can track and be part of the decision-making process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other public comment? All right, I'm going to bring this back then.
Madam Chair, I move on staff recommendation to refer this back to the Planning Commission.
I have a motion from Supervisor Rotifer, a second from Supervisor Royce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everyone.
Madam Chair, I would like to thank the member of the public that brought this to our attention.
And
Whoever that may be.
And I agree. Thank you, public. All right. Before I adjourn the meeting, I want to be certain for the record that there is no report out from the closed session at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
You were in attendance? Yes, I would like to do that. Before we adjourn, we are going to reopen reports. I believe a couple of the supervisors attended a function and with the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm hoping one of them will report out.
Absolutely. I would like to, first of all, I think that we owe congratulations to all of the winners of awards, the Chamber Awards. It was a very wonderful evening. There's two in particular that I would like to mention. One is the Citizen of the Year, Mr. Gottschall, who has done incredible amount of volunteering, his services as part of our fire safe councils, and his efforts over the years, but certainly this year, made him the absolute right choice this year. And then the other one was excellence in government to our EDA director, Mr. Larry Cope. Again, as we've all said many times from this dais, Larry's efforts on behalf of the economic development in this county have benefited not just the county, but the city of Sonora as well. And again, I think he was absolutely the right choice for excellence in government this year.
Supervisor Gray.
Yes, I had also attended and had the opportunity of giving the Teacher of the Year award to Karen Sells from Tioga High. She is such an energetic person. She has got a culinary program going there, amongst other things. She has her students taking blood pressure every other week up at Southside Seniors. It's just a great program, and she's well deserved of the award. And so was Larry and Mr. Gottschalk, for sure.
And I want to thank both of you for reporting out on that, because the recognition for all three individuals is very well deserved and certainly deserves our recognition on behalf of all their hard work. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.